Hello everybody, so today I am giving you my all potions guide. This is part of my tips and tricks series. I'm going to tell you how to craft potions, crafting recipes and effects for all the potions, and since there's going to be a lot, I'm going to break it into sections. I'm also going to include flasks at the end. So I'll be starting with restoration potions for health and mana. I'll be moving on to food to get the well-fed buff, not really a potion but important just the same. Then I'll be telling you some of the potions that are important for bosses, for fishing, some other general buff and otherwise potions, and again I'll be ending it with flasks. So things I won't be telling you is how to get and farm the herbs. Hopefully if you've gotten to this point you know how to get herbs. You can start with, Daybloom that's sitting around on the grass out in the open in the daytime. But I covered that stuff in my gardening guide, so if you need to know more about the herbs themselves and mushrooms and so on, check out my gardening guide. I will tell you where to get fish that you need for some of the potions, but I will not tell you how to fish. That's all covered in my fishing guide. So let's get started. First of all, to craft potions, you're going to need a potion crafting station. So the first basic potion crafting station is right here. It's just a matter of placing an empty bottle on a flat surface furniture object. You can also use actually a pink vase or a mug or a cup, but basically you just need to place one of those on a flat surface piece of furniture. If you're on 1.3 plus, the PC equivalent, the 1.3 equivalent update, that's on PS4 now and coming to Xbox One soon and so on. You can also use the alchemy station, which is this thing right here. It looks like a crazier little potion crafting thing. You'll find that in the dungeon if you have the 1.3 update onward or equivalent for your platform. And the benefit of finding the alchemy station is that it gives you a 33%, as in 1 in 3 chance, not to consume each of your ingredients when you're making potions. So as far as getting bottles, though, to make that basic potion crafting station, and also because you're going to need bottles to make potions, you will need to have some sand, and then you go to your furnace, and then you'll see here you can make glass. When you get 2 glass, you can then make bottles. Here we are, bottles. So you'll need bottles, and then further to that, for a lot of the potions you'll need bottled water. So all you do then, is go over to some water with some empty bottles, and then you can make bottled water. It's as simple as that. So keep that in mind. You will need, first of all, an empty bottle on a flat surface piece of furniture as a basic crafting station, and then for many of the potions you'll need to fill some further empty bottles with water to make a lot of the potions, not all of them. So first one we're going to cover actually does not require that. The lesser healing potion, the most basic potion in the game. You're going to need 2 empty bottles and 2 gel and 1 mushroom. So I'm just going to show you these. I'm not actually going to make them because obviously I have tons of potions you can see up here in my inventory. But as I'm saying there, to make 2, you actually make 2 with this particular recipe. It's 1 mushroom, 2 gel, and 2 empty bottles to make 2 lesser healing potions. And that will give you 50 life back. Obviously, that's only when your life is down by a bit. You can use that to get some of your health back. So other potions that you can use to get health back include bottled honey, which I'm not going to show you. It's just an empty bottle. You just stand in honey rather than in water, but that'll actually give you life back. That'll give you 80 life. A regular healing potion is actually 2 lesser healing potions and 1 glowing mushroom. So actually I will craft one of those. And then you can see a regular healing potion. You use those 2 and 1 glowing mushroom, you get a regular one, and that gives you your 100 life. So it's like literally sticking 2 of those together and using them at once. Let's say glowing mushrooms are glue. Anyway, then you can also do a greater healing potion. This is once you're in hard mode only. It will give you 150 life. To do that is a bottled water. Yeah, and this actually is 3 bottled water if you're on the 1.3 update onward. If you're not, before that, it's just 1 bottled water. And then 3 pixie dust, and again, 1 crystal shard. So the 3 pixie dust and the crystal shard are the same, regardless of whether you have the 1.3 equivalent update or not. But if you have that update, then it's actually going to require 3 bottled water, but it's going to give you 3 of them. Before that, it was 1 bottled water and you get 1 of them. But the rest of the recipe is the same. So also, only if you have the 1.3 update onwards, you can make a super healing potion, which actually requires 4 of the greater healing potions, and 1 of each of the fragments that you get from the solar or the celestial pillars during the lunar event, the lunar pillars, celestial pillars. You need 1 of each of those fragments and 4 greater healing potions, and you make 4 super healing potions. So there we go. I don't even have space for that. But anyway, then you can also get lesser mana potions. Actually, you cannot craft lesser mana potions, so I had to stick some in my inventory because I'll show you that why that is in a second. You will purchase lesser mana potions from the merchant, or you will find them. You cannot craft them. They give you 50 mana back for your magic weapons. Then a regular mana potion uses 2 of those plus a glowing mushroom, much like the regular healing potion. It's the same idea. So mana potion, there you go, 2 lesser mana and a glowing mushroom, and that gives you 100 mana back. Greater mana potion, which, did I miss the ingredients? Oh yeah, no, you can't actually craft the greater mana potion either. You'll purchase that from the wizard once you're in hard mode. That's a hard mode only. And then the super mana potion, which, again, you can only make in hard mode, requires 15 of those greater mana potions, a falling star, 3 crystal shards, and a unicorn horn. So it requires a bunch of fairly hard to obtain items, but 15 of those, a fallen star, 3 crystal shards, and a unicorn horn, and you make a super mana potion. Bam. And yeah, I should really just stop just throwing these away. But anyway, there are also what they call general restoration potions, which restore both some of your health and your mana. So there's a lesser restoration potion. If you're on console and mobile, you can make that out of 1 lesser healing potion and 1 lesser mana potion. If you're on 1.3 onward, again, at the moment, that's PC and PS4. But after the 1.3 equivalent update, you can only find those, actually. You will not be able to craft lesser restoration potions. Again, with that 1.3 update onward, though, you get 80 health and 80 mana from the lesser potion, whereas on the other versions, you just get 50 health and 50 mana. The regular restoration potion, again, there's a difference here, whether you have that update or not. With the update, it's 1 mushroom plus pink gel, plus a bottle, and empty bottle. And if you're on console and mobile, it's a healing potion plus a mana potion. That one, since the update, actually also restores 80 health and 80 mana, so it's actually the same thing, but you can craft it. Whereas on the console and mobile platforms, it's 100 health and 100 mana, so it is actually double. The other thing you can get, which I don't have, is the Strange Brew, which is only available since that 1.3 equivalent update. Purchased from the skeleton merchant. It gives you 80 health, but it gives you 400 mana. So those are big. So those are all your health, mana, restoration potions, and I have to juggle some inventory. I'll be right back, 1 sec. Okay, so we're moving on here now. And by the way, I'm trying to keep these sections in order of both like how early and you're going to need these things, as well as how important or useful they are, and how easily you can make them, you know, earlier versus later in the game as well. So moving right along, we're going to the well-fed buff. So basically we're talking about food. So you're going to make a lot of your food at the cooking pot, which is this right here. So to make a cooking pot, you're going to need 10 iron or lead bars and 2 wood. You're going to make that at your anvil, and that will give you the cooking pot right there. So you can make some of the, I'm not going to tell you every single type of food. There are various types of food. You can even buy some from the traveling merchant and so on. But stuff that you can make pretty easily. You can make cooked fish right here at the cooking pot, and that's a simple one. If you do any amount of fishing, you can see that here, and it's actually giving me 2 because I just put 2 different types of fish in my inventory. So you can make that from any type of regular fish that's called a material, because there are some others. There are special fish that we'll get to in a second as well. but I can make that from bass or from salmon and so on, and you'll get some fish in regular waters and you'll get some fish in the ocean waters. But basically the stuff that is not specialized for a particular potion, you can generally turn into cooked fish, and some of those you can actually also turn into sashimi, interestingly enough. But those are generally only the ocean type fish. So if I go over here to my workbench, and of course I have a bunch of stuff, so there's all kinds of stuff I can make, but I can make sashimi, and generally that's going to be from most of the ocean type fish that you can make sashimi. It has the same effect, actually. So whether it's cooked fish or sashimi, if you have the 1.3 equivalent update onward, it gives you that buff for 20 minutes. But before that, it's only worth 3 minutes of the well-fed buff. And by the way, the well-fed buff helps your defense, critical strike chance, melee speed, damage that you inflict, and your knockback as well, and your movement speed. So it helps all of those. Sorry, it's your minion knockback speed only. And also, if you're in expert, it becomes more important to have that well-fed buff because you actually suffer a regeneration, life regeneration penalty, and only if you have that well-fed buff is that regeneration penalty taken away, so that your life will regenerate at the normal mode rate. So the well-fed buff is very important. It's also important for boss fights and stuff because it gives you all those different stat boosts. So your cooked fish or your sashimi will give you that buff for a long time if you have the update, but if you don't, it's only going to give it to you for 3 minutes. So if you don't have that update, a better alternative, and you can use this on either one, but you can make a bowl of soup. And that just requires a bowl. A bowl is actually made from 2 clay at the furnace. So a bowl plus a mushroom plus a goldfish, which you can use a net that you buy from the merchant, and you can just capture one of those guys from, you'll see the goldfish swimming around sometimes in the water, and you can just capture those with a bug net. And there you go. So a bowl plus a mushroom plus a goldfish. If you have the update, that'll give you the buff for 30 minutes, so it's still a little better. But before the update, that's worth 10 minutes of the well-fed buff, which is like a lot better than just 3 minutes. So keep that in mind. Also, a really good option on post or pre-update is pumpkin pie, which requires 10 pumpkin, but you'll actually make that at the furnace. So we'll go up here, and there you go, pumpkin pie. You just make it from 10 pumpkin, especially around Halloween. You'll see pumpkin growing, or like even after Halloween, if you were around at Halloween, in the fall, generally in the game, then you will see pumpkin growing still well after that as well. Basically, once it starts growing, it tends to keep growing to some degree. And you get 10 pumpkin, go to your furnace, make a pumpkin pie, and you can see with the update, you actually get that buff for 45 minutes. Prior to the update, you still get it for 15 minutes, which is still better than all the other alternatives. So with that said, the well-fed buff, good at any time, particularly good for boss fights. Let's get on to buff potions that are the most useful for boss fights. So there's a whole wide variety of these, but I'm going to start with some of the basic ones. So Ironskin, bottled water plus Daybloom plus lead ore. Ironskin gives you an extra 8 defense. So that's very useful, obviously, to keep you alive during something like a boss fight. These aren't only useful during boss fights, but they're particularly good for boss fights. So that's why I kind of gave these their own section. Regeneration is bottled water plus Daybloom plus mushroom. That gives you an extra 2 health per second regeneration. Again, help keep you alive. Swiftness will give you plus 25% movement speed. Again, bottled water, blink root, and cactus for that one. Magic power, if you're a magic user, is going to be really quite important. What's that look like again? Yeah, here we go. You'll notice they're shaped differently, the magic potions. So magic power is bottled water plus moonglow plus deathweed and a fallen star, and that will give you a 20% boost to your magic damage. So that's very useful if you're a magic user. Mana regeneration will help you regenerate your mana sooner and quicker. So again, if you're a magic user, very important. Bottled water plus moonglow plus daybloom plus a fallen star again. Also the archery potion. This is very useful early in the game when you're using bows particularly, but really if you're a bow user, obviously useful throughout the entire game. That will give you a boost of 20% to both the arrow's speed and the damage that your arrows do. So that's bottled water plus day bloom plus a lens that you get from those guys flying around at night. The little eye guys. Kill some of them, get bottled water, day bloom, and a lens, make your archery potion, and that's going to help you with any sort of bows, arrows, repeaters, and so on. A Thorns potion, you can actually only make this if you have a corruption world, which this one happens to be. Basically, if an enemy strikes you, like actually hits you, a third of the damage that they do to you will be returned to them, and that's what the Thorns potion is. Very useful in a corruption world. Bottled water plus deathweed plus cactus plus wormtooth plus stinger. And actually after that I am going to have to shuffle my inventory again, so I'll be right back. We're going to get into some of the ones that require fishing. Alright, and now it started raining, but that's a good time to go fishing, and we're still talking about boss potions here. So potions that will help you with bosses, again, not only useful for that invasion events and just other times when you need a little help as well, but the endurance potion is a very helpful one. That is going to be, it's going to take 10% damage off of enemy attacks. So that's going to help you out, keep you alive again, and that is going to be 1 bottled water, 1 armored cave fish, and a blink root. And as I told you, I'm going to tell you where to find these fish. The armored cave fish you will find underground and below that in the cavern layer and so on in any biome, so that's an easy one. Now your wrath potion, this is again only in corruption worlds, but if you're in a corruption world, you can get the wrath potion. It gives you a boost of 10% to your weapon damage. It's bottled water plus ebon koi and deathweed. Again, the ebon koi can be found in the corruption at any level, any height of the map. Now, 2 that I'm not actually going to show you because they're only in Crimson World, and this is a corruption world. The Rage Potion, which is basically the equivalent of the Wrath Potion, but in a Crimson World. The Rage Potion will give you a 10% boost to your critical strike chance. It's bottled water and a Hemopiranha, and or a Hemopiranha, and Deathweed. And similarly, the Hemopiranha is found in the Crimson at any level, any height. Also, one that's really useful if you happen to be in a Crimson world is the Heartreach potion. It'll give you a boost of 16 blocks to your pickup range for hearts that are dropped by enemies. That, of course, is huge because normally your pickup range is only 2 blocks, so that'll actually give you a total range of 18 blocks to pick up those hearts. Again, can be very useful during battles, especially against large numbers of enemies, invasion events, and so on. Anything that drops those hearts. To make that is a bottled water, a crimson tigerfish, and a day bloom. If you're on a version of the game prior to the 1.3 equivalent update, you will also need to add Moonglow. So bottled water, crimson tigerfish, day bloom, possibly Moonglow, and you'll find that crimson tigerfish in the crimson, again at any level. Now, ammo reservation potion, if you're using guns, very, very useful. That's this one right here. And that gives you, as you can see, an extra 20% chance to not consume ammo. That does stack with other bonuses. That is a bottled water, a double cod, and a Moonglow. The double cod is found in the jungle surface and above. You can go up into Sky Islands above the jungle as well and find it there. And that will be useful if you're playing as a gun-wielding character. Then the summoning potion allows you to have 1 extra minion. So if you're playing as a summoner, or really even if you're not, you can have 1 extra minion by using the summoning potion, and that is bottled water plus a variegated lard fish plus Moonglow. And the thing about that is that the variegated lard fish is found also in the jungle, but at the underground level and below, caverns and so on, down from the surface in the jungle rather than the double cod, which is surface and upward. Then you can get into the Lifeforce potion. That's going to be this one right here. Increases your maximum life by 20%. Again, very useful. For instance, I have 500 life. That would boost me to 600 life. And again, very useful for boss fights and so on. That's a bottled water, a prismite, a Moonglow, a shiverthorn, and a waterleaf. The prismite you will find in the Hallow at any level. So obviously that's hard mode only. The Inferno now. Inferno potion. Yeah, that's the one that looks like fire. Yeah, it says ignites nearby enemies, but actually what it does is it puts a barrier of flame around you that does a very small amount of damage, but can inflict the on-fire debuff to anything that comes near you. It's actually particularly useful against Duke Fishron because of all the bubbles he spits at you that are easily taken out in terms of damage, but hard to take out because there's a lot of them. So it encircles you in flame, and it'll protect you from things like those bubbles. It takes 1 bottled water, a flarefin koi, an obsidifish, and a fire blossom. 2 obsidifish, sorry, and fire blossom. So the thing about that is, obviously, well, not so obviously, that's only available in hard mode as well, because while the flarefin koi and the obsidifish can be found in lava at any height, wherever you might have some lava, you can actually, have a little lava farm by your base if you want to, but catching those fish, both of them require a hotline fishing hook, because that's or hotline fishing rod, because that's the only fishing rod that can fish in lava, and it is a very rare angler quest reward once you're in hard mode. I was actually lucky enough to get one of those, and it's like 1 in 150, although the quests before hard mode count. But anyway, yeah, on average you would have to do 150 fishing quests to get one of those, and I did get one, and that allows you to fish in lava, and then you can make your Inferno potion from, again, bottled water, flarefin koi, 2 obsidifish, and a fire blossom. So moving on, some other very useful potions. Speaking of fishing, there are 3 potions actually that are specific to fishing, so I'm just going to get those covered, because fishing is actually really useful in the game, and potions that help you with fishing, therefore, are very useful in the game. So there's a fishing potion that you can make that gives you plus 15 fishing power, and also rain, like this, gives you a boost to fishing power. Again, check out my fishing guide for more details there. But a fishing potion is made from bottled water plus crispy honey block. So actually, that's made from a honey block that you can toast at your furnace. So bottled water plus a crispy honey block plus water leaf, which again will be blooming when it's raining, and that'll give you a fishing potion, which it just says increases fishing skill, but specifically by an extra 15 points. You can also make a sonar potion, and a sonar potion will actually detect, as it says here, detect hooked fish. So you'll actually know, you cast your line out in the water, and it'll pop up the name of whatever is on your hook, and then you can choose whether to reel it in or not. If you don't reel it in, you save some bait, and you also save space in your inventory. So you can use a sonar potion to get what you want more quickly, while also saving the things you need. So it's a bottled water plus water leaf and coral. Coral you'll find in the ocean, just growing under the water usually. And that's how you can make that. A crate potion is also very, very useful. See if I can even recognize it. It's this one, yeah. Crate potion increases the chance to get a crate. Specifically, it doubles the chance to get a crate. Normally the chance is 10%, it doubles it to 20%. This is only available, or sorry, the recipe changed with the 1.3 update and equivalent on other platforms. PS4's got that now. So with the update, it's now bottled water plus amber plus moonglow plus deathweed. Before the update, if you're on another platform that doesn't have that update yet, it's bottled water plus amber plus moonglow. Those ingredients are the same, but instead of deathweed, it's water leaf and shiverthorn. So it's got 5 ingredients on those platforms. Now, I'm going to have to juggle my inventory again, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the next bunch of potions that I'm going to tell you about are other, sort of just other potions, other buff potions, protection potions, utility potions, and so on. Just general, the rest of the potions, because some of these are still buff potions, but they're maybe not as useful against bosses specifically as useful in certain other situations. So most useful of those, are one of the most important at least, is the Obsidian Skin Potion. So this will protect you, it'll give you immunity to lava, meteorite, and hellstone. It will also make you immune to the on-fire debuff. Very important when you're going down to the underworld particularly, or definitely helpful if you're investigating a site of a meteorite. It's bottled water, fire blossom, water leaf, and obsidian. Of course, obsidian you find where water meets lava, and you'll need to mine some of that out. Another one is a battle potion. So a battle potion is going to increase the enemy spawn rate by 50%, and it's also going to, I think it's blue. It's also going to double the maximum number of enemies that are going to be on the screen. So I don't actually use them very often. Okay, it's purple. So it's bottled water plus deathweed and rotten chunks. That's a battle. Actually, either a rotten chunk or a vertebrae, depending whether you're in a corruption or crimson world. That'll give you the battle potion, and again, 50% extra enemies, or faster or quicker, whatever you want to call it. 50% more enemies spawn rate, 50% faster enemy spawn rate, and double the maximum number of enemies on the screen at one time. Opposite to that is the calming potion, which is going to actually decrease the enemy spawn rate by 17%, and it's also going to decrease the maximum number of enemies on the screen by 20%. So in other words, 1/5 fewer enemies on the screen. Here it is. And it's, again, definitely one I never really use much. It's bottled water, damselfish, and daybloom. But yeah, if you need to calm down an event or an invasion or something, calming potion. Or a dungeon, you want to go down to the dungeon, you want to have fewer enemies. Bottled water, damselfish, and daybloom, calming potion. A shine potion, actually very important, and that basically will make your player glow as if you were holding a torch, more or less. And that's very useful, obviously, when you want to go exploring in the dark without holding a torch. So it's bottled water plus daybloom plus a glowing mushroom. Make yourself a shine potion, and you can light your own way. And a similar idea, but a slightly different effect, is the night owl potion. That will increase your night vision, and it will increase the effect of lighting objects like torches, so that they'll glow a little, brighter and farther. That is bottled water, daybloom, and blinkroot. Also very useful is a hunter potion. This is going to show the location of enemies. Basically, it makes your enemies glow. It kind of highlights them. That's bottled water, daybloom, blinkroot, and a shark fin. Shark fin you can get from sharks in the ocean. Also, since the update, actually it's probably PC only for now. It's one of the more recent updates than just 1.3. It's 1.3 point some odd. You can actually have sand sharks in the desert now as well. And they will actually give you shark fins. So along the same sort of line is the Dangersense potion, even the same sort of color. Allows you to see nearby danger sources. Specifically, that highlights traps and other blocks that might be harmful. It's bottled water plus shiverthorn and 10 cobwebs. Featherfall can be useful. Slows your falling speed. It actually also allows some control of how much the gravity is affecting you by pushing up to help boost your jumps or slow your fall, and pushing down to fall faster, basically. And so that allows you to control the speed of your jumps. Actually, by default, it will slow the speed, or control the speed of your jumps and your falls. It will, by default, slow your falls as well, and it will eliminate fall damage, so it can be very useful, especially early in the game, or if you don't have anything else that negates fall damage. It's bottled water, daybloom, blinkroot, and a feather, which you get from a harpies. Along, again, sort of similar lines is the Gravitation potion. You will find these sometimes, and a lot of these actually you'll find in crates and stuff along the way. If you find these really early in the game, it's very useful because they can help you find floating islands and stuff. They allow you to actually invert gravity. You just push up and it inverts gravity, and it's toggleable. You can toggle it on and off, so you can like invert gravity, fly up into the sky, and then invert it again to come down, kind of thing. It does not negate fall damage though, so it might be best to use that with a Featherfall potion. Anyway, if you want to make one of these, you're going to have to get down to the underworld, because it's bottled water, a fire blossom from the underworld, deathweed, blinkroot, and a feather. Very useful, though, for finding floating islands and so on. Now, recall potions, you'll probably be familiar with those. You'll find them quite commonly early in the game, particularly, but you can make them as well. To make a recall potion, you're going to need bottled water, a specular fish, and a day bloom. Now, to get the specular fish, actually, that recipe is since that 1.3 update as well. Prior to the update, the recipe was also bottled water and specular fish, but instead of day bloom, you would need deathweed. And to find the specular fish, you're going to be in the forest biome, the sort of default regular grass, regular trees biome. And it's going to be underground or lower, actually. So you're going to need to go underground cavern, and so on. You'll find those by fishing down there. Teleportation potion is a little rarer. This is actually hard mode only because you'll need a hard mode fish for it. It actually teleports you to a random location. So I guess the utility of that is that it can help you discover new areas. It can also even teleport you to Sky Islands and other places. It will not teleport you into the dungeon or the jungle temple unless you've fulfilled the requirements to be there anyway. But to make one, to teleport to a random location, it's a bottled water plus a chaos fish and a fire blossom. The chaos fish you will find in the Hallow at the underground or cavern or lower down levels. And so again, that's why that's hard mode only, because of course the Hallow normally only exists in hard mode. Wormhole potion, very useful if you're playing multiplayer, and you'll see these a lot more if you're playing multiplayer. You won't generally get them in single player, but if you're in multiplayer, you can find these. They'll be dropped sometimes, or you'll find them around the map. And you can also craft them, and you can craft them. Obviously, I am in single player right now, and you can craft them if you want to, but they won't be useful in single player because what it does is teleports you to a party member. And you don't even see the party options here because I'm in single player, but normally you'll have a little group of colored icons next to here if you're in multiplayer, just next to your equipment and dies and stuff. And basically, you just click one of those to assign yourself to a party or a team. And you can use the wormhole potion then to teleport yourself to another team member just by bringing up the map. You just hit map, and let's say these guys were players. You could just click on the player you want to teleport to. You actually don't need to use the potion directly. You just need to have it in your inventory and click on the person you want to warp to. And yeah, that's how it works. So to build or to craft a wormhole potion, it's bottled water plus a specular fish, same one from the recall potion. You find those underground in the regular biome, and a blink root. So again, very useful in multiplayer, and really the harder the game, the more useful. You can use those also to teleport to another player who's still fighting a boss. If you get killed, you can teleport there quickly, and so again, in multiplayer, very, very useful. Now, moving on to other important potions, the Spelunker potion is definitely one that I highly recommend. It highlights valuable objects and ores, very useful for hunting for ores, whether it's early in the game or early in hard mode. Can also highlight chests and other valuable objects. It is made from blink root, bottled water, moon glow, and either gold or platinum ore, just one. And that's actually one reason to keep some gold or platinum ore around, especially even once you get into hard mode. If you have the ingredients here, bottled water, blink root, moon glow, and gold or platinum ore, you can make those potions and you can find the new hard mode ores a little quicker that way as well. Also very useful, as I say, early in the game too. Speaking of mining potion. A mining potion will actually boost your mining rate. Here it is. It's a 25% boost to your pickaxe mining speed. It actually does not boost other mining tools like drills or even the drill containment unit. It only boosts pickaxe mining speed by 25%. It's bottled water, an antlion mandible, and blink root. And sort of along the same lines, the builder potion. If you're getting into building, you're going to want probably one of these if you want to speed up the process. The builder potion will give you an extra +1 block placement range and 25% faster placement speed, so you can basically just build quicker. It's a bottled water, a blink root, shiver thorn, and moon glow. And then moving on to a bit of a different topic, if you're getting into the water, you might want a Flipper Potion or a Gills Potion. So Flipper Potion, here we are. Flipper Potion will allow you to basically move normally in liquids. You'll move at your regular speed, and it also allows you to swim, so you can get up to the surface a lot quicker, and you don't drown as quickly. Well, you do drown as quickly, but you can get to the surface before you do. Anyway, it's Bottled Water, Shiverthorn, and Waterleaf. But speaking of drowning, the Gills Potion is also a useful thing to go along with that, particularly if you want to go explore out in the ocean, say, in a large body of water. Gills Potion will allow you to breathe underwater, and it is Bottled Water plus Waterleaf plus Coral. Again, Coral you'll find out in the ocean. And one more water-based or water-related potion that's very useful is the Water Walking Potion. So you can get wading boots or water walking boots that will allow you to walk on water, but you can also have a potion that allows you to do the same. It's Bottled Water plus Waterleaf plus a shark fin, and that allows you not only to walk on top of water, but it'll actually allow you to walk on top of lava as well. So you can use that sort of as an alternative to the Obsidian Skin Potion. You can actually push down to sink into the liquid. So that's where it gets a little dangerous. You can walk on lava without taking damage, but if you push down, you're going to sink into the lava and you are going to get damaged. Also, if you drop from too high a height, you will still sink into the lava. So keep that in mind, but still useful if you're exploring the underworld. Maybe you don't have the stuff for the Obsidian Skin Potion. Also, sort of getting into a little more random stuff, the Warmth Potion reduces damage from cold-themed enemies. And basically that is a Bottled Water plus a Frost Minnow plus, let me just find it here, sorry. I must have it, I must have it, I must have it. Do I not have it? I should have it. I have the ingredients, don't I? Huh. I don't see it. Anyway, oh, here it is. Okay, it's. I was thinking it would look like something cold, but instead it looks like something warm because it's the Warmth Potion. Okay, but it's made of cold things. It's a Bottled Water plus a Frost Minnow and a Shiverthorn. And again, it reduces damage from cold-themed enemies. It's useful for fighting the Frost Legion, particularly, although I don't find them that hard. But it is also useful against the Frost Moon because it will save you from the chilled debuff that the Ice Queen inflicts. So yeah, it reduces damage from cold-themed enemies, particularly those that inflict the chilled debuff. And you can get this Frost Minnow from the snow biome at any height when fishing. So you will need to fish to get that. Invisibility Potion will render you invisible. It's actually particularly useful for hunting for truffle worms because they will not run and burrow away if you're using the Invisibility Potion. So to make an Invisibility Potion, it's Bottled Water plus Blink Root plus Moonglow. It works a little differently since the 1.3 update than it did before that. Since 1.3, it's sort of a stealth effect. You appear invisible, including all your items and stuff. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. Enemies are less likely to target you. It basically reduces the aggro rating, enemy aggression. But if you get hit, or I think if you attack as well, you will come out of that stealth. Prior to the update, though, if you're wearing armor and accessories, they will still be visible. So that's kind of interesting. You can, however, get the costume that makes you look like you don't have anything. It makes you look like a starting player. If you use that costume, it will somehow make you invisible again as well. So you can use that as a vanity in your vanity sets to override the fact that your armor and stuff would otherwise be visible, which is kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, they changed that effect with the 1.3 update and the other platforms getting the equivalent to that. Now, there is also a Titan potion in here somewhere, and that is for melee players, essentially, because basically, yeah, it increases your knockback, which is, knockback from melee weapons, knock your enemies back. It's Bottled Water plus a Bone, Deathweed, and Shiverthorn. And also, the only potion that uses all 7 herbs and spices. No, there are no spices. The only potion that uses all 7 herbs is the gender change potion. It's probably not very useful if you're just playing regular, but if you're doing role play, this might be useful. It's bottled water plus all 7 herbs: Daybloom, Moonglow, Blinkroot, Waterleaf, Deathweed, Shiverthorn, and Fire Blossom, 1 of each, along with your bottled water, and you can change from male to female or female to male. And just a couple more sort of not very effective but kind of funny potions. There's a love potion. So you throw this at NPCs and it says make them fall in love. But what it really does is that they start spewing out red hearts. So you can throw that in an NPC and you'll see all these hearts flying off of them. It's a bottled water plus a princess fish and a Shiverthorn. You get the princess fish from any level of the Hallow, so that's actually hard mode only normally. But that's what that does. And on a similar sort of idea, but the opposite thing, let's say, you can get a stink potion and you throw that at someone to make them smell terrible. But it's again just a cosmetic effect. You can throw it at enemies, players, or NPCs, and if you strike them with it, they emit these green fumes. But again, it's just cosmetic. It's bottled water plus stinkfish and deathweed. Stinkfish you will find just generally underground and cavern layers when you're fishing. That's where you will find them. So again, one last time, I'm going to need to swap my inventory. I'll be right back. Okay, so last little bit is flasks, and flasks are buffs only for weapons that inflict melee damage. They don't necessarily have to actually be like swing a sword and hit somebody, but for swords, yo-yos, some of the other weapons like the vampire knives and stuff, like some of them are kind of projectiles, but if they're considered melee weapons that inflict melee damage, the flasks will affect what happens when you hit enemies with them. Basically, you'll do extra damage by inflicting debuffs mostly, and some of them are just effects. So let's get into that. To make flasks, you are going to need the imbuing station, and that's this thing right here. You get that from the Witch Doctor. You will buy that from the Witch Doctor, and he always sells that. And there's only 3 actually that you can do pre-hard mode, but there's actually 4 or 5 more that you can do once you're in hard mode. Anyway, flasks again have effects for melee weapons. The first one probably that you're going to be able to do is the Flask of Fire. See, you can say here, melee attacks set enemies on fire. It inflicts the on fire debuff to your enemies. And I should mention actually, only 1 flask can be in effect at any time. Since the 1.3 or equivalent update, it will stay active after death. Before that update, it will die with you, as most potions do. But unlike most potions, since the update, it will actually stay in effect after you die. So the Flask of Fire will inflict the on-fire debuff. It's bottled water, plus, again, since the update, it's 3 Hellstone. Before the update, it's 5 Hellstone. But it's bottled water and Hellstone to make a Flask of Fire, and it will these will actually stay in effect longer since the update as well, but it's a decent time regardless. So yeah, these flasks will inflict these debuffs or effects, and yeah. Okay, the second one that is going to be useful in pre-hard mode is the Flask of Poison. Melee attacks poison enemies. So that inflicts the poison debuff, which also basically takes some health from your enemies over time. It's kind of like it hits them for a small amount every tick, so to speak. So the Flask of Poison is bottled water plus the Stinger. You can get the Stinger from the jungle, of course, like you get the Hellstone from the Underworld. So actually you might get this one before that. But these are the 2 that are going to be useful before hard mode. And there's one that's not quite so useful. It's the Flask of Party, which is really just for fun. It's not useful in the damage sense, but it's funny. The Flask of Party, melee attacks cause confetti to appear. So you hit your enemies with your melee weapon and confetti pops out. So it's bottled water plus 5 confetti, which you will buy from the party girl once you have her. If you need to know where to get any of the NPCs, check out my all NPCs guide, by the way. And then once you're in hard mode, you get a few more. So One that you can get right away is the Flask of Gold. You will need to buy 5 gold dust from your merchant, and again, bottled water plus 5 gold dust. And what it does is it increases enemy coin drop rates by 10 to 50%. Not sure exactly if that depends on which enemy or what, but yeah, basically you're going to get more money when you kill your enemies. So bottled water and 5 gold dust that you buy from the merchant once you're in hard mode. Cursed Flames, if you're in a corruption world, or at least a world that has corruption, your melee attacks will inflict the Cursed Flames or Cursed Inferno debuff. It's bottled water plus, again, since the update, it's 2 Cursed Flames. Before the update, it's 5 Cursed Flames to make this, but it's bottled water plus Cursed Flames, and you'll inflict the Cursed Inferno debuff. If you're in a Crimson world, or a world that has Crimson, you can also get the Flask of Ichor, which is the equivalent in those worlds. I don't have that, but that will inflict the Ichor debuff, which the Cursed Inferno is like the On Fire and Poisoned, but it takes more health from your enemies, you know, keeps doing it for a while. Whereas the Ichor will actually lower their defense, and that will allow you to do more damage. It's a different approach to the same problem. Instead of the Cursed Flames, which do more damage to your enemy, the Ichor debuff lowers their defense so that you can, whatever attacks you are doing, will do more damage. So Ichor, again, it's bottled water plus Ichor. With the update, it's 2 Ichor. Before the update, it's 5 Ichor. And 2 more. The Flask of Venom. There we go. This is post Plantera. After you've defeated Plantera, you can combine bottled water with 5 vials of venom, which you can buy from the Witch Doctor after defeating Plantera, and you can create the Flask of Venom. And it's basically a more powerful version of the poison debuff. It's also, you can use it on slightly more enemies. Some of them are immune to poison, but not immune to venom. So Venom debuff through the Flask of Venom. And another one that is also post-Plantera is the Flask of Nanites. And the Flask of Nanites inflicts the Confused debuff on your enemies. It's bottled water plus 5 nanites. You buy your nanites from the Cyborg. The Cyborg appears after you've defeated Plantera. So those are basically them in order. Flask of Nanites, by the way, is best used for crowd control. So if you're maybe in the dungeon or the jungle temple, it'll kind of confuse, it inflicts the Confused debuff. The Confused debuff causes them often to run away from you instead of towards you, which, again, good for crowd control. So dungeon, jungle temple, maybe invasion events, you can use that one. And that is all the flasks. And the flasks were the last bit that I was doing here, so hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. That was a long video, am I right? Bye for now.